I'm gonna do a song called Mimi, and Mimi is a song. Mimi back in our language and the Yaro language back in Broome means your mother's mother, your grandmother from your mother's side, and I wrote this song thinking about my grandmother who grew me up in a way. My mother grew me up too, but I spent a lot of time with my Mimi because Mom had 12 kids, so she couldn't mind them all at once. But I got fond memories of my granny, and I always had this idea of writing a song for my Mimi because they always tell us when they finally leave this earth, they still hang around. They're up in the sky and the stars watching down on us all. So this is called Mimi. Mimi in the sky, like hallowed rays of light, watching over me. Mimi when she sings, song gliding on the wind, watching over me. This country's in my veins, with blood I'll write a name. I'll sing a song to sing what I can't say. But teary Mimi's eyes, like raindrops from the sky, washing over me. A gentle voice so loud, on the face up in the clouds. Ima jala jalan, ima jala jalan, ayo. This country's in my veins, with blood I'll write a name. I'll sing a song to sing what I can't say. This country's in my veins, with blood I'll write a name. I'll sing a song to sing what I can't say. The spirit never dies, it takes an endless flight, way up to the winding Milky Way. This country's in my veins, with blood I'll write a name. I'll sing a song to sing what I can't say. Yamaburu in my veins, with blood I'll write a name. I'll sing a song to sing what I can't say. Mimi.
How are you, Stephen?
Good to be here. Thank you.
It's it is a pleasure to have your company here in the studio. How have you been keeping since your last visit to the Top End?
Oh, that was last year sometime. I come out with a touring mob called The Reef, which was the Australian Chamber Orchestra. But I've since done a solo record back in, finished it early March, and I've sort of been just laying low back home and trying to get it out there and playing locally live. And I've come on tour now with this the Crossing Roper Bar tour, which I've had a bit of contact with in previous years, just locally around home. But good to be on the road with something that's kind of a bit challenging and different, and try and get my songs out there that way too. Yeah,
no worries. So speaking of family and back home, how is the family? All 4,000 of them?
Yeah, yeah, they're all there. We're running out of fish. That's all. Too many tourists.
Fair enough. Let's talk about the Wanderer album. Is this your first solo album?
Yeah, I kind of did one back in 1990 when I tried to sort of break off as a solo, but a lot of them songs, I only put it out on cassette.
Yep.
And most of them songs ended up on Saltwater Country, the Pigram Brothers album. But I always wanted to kind of do a solo thing, only, for a couple of reasons. One, because I kind of like the style I play of the finger picking and that kind of storytelling, songwriting. It sort of suits that solo kind of performance.
Yep.
And the second thing is just it's really just a logistical thing to get around the place, because you can't. It's a bit hard to cart 7 brothers on the road everywhere.
Fair enough.
It's just the times, it's just getting really tough to travel as a big band. I think all musicians are finding that.
Yep.
So you sort of adjust and you try and get around the place as best you can. Yes, and being solo is it's a good way to do it.
So how do the two compare, being solo as compared to being in a big band?
It's just pretty magical playing with 7 brothers. It's pretty magical when we get it to happen. But in this particular tour with Crossing Roper Bar, I'm playing with other musicians anyway, and it's kind of they're arranging my songs in a different kind of slightly different way. So it's like a collaboration, but so you still got that band feel, and then working with the guys from Ngukar, it's pretty interesting too, because the way they're using traditional song, and I think it's a great thing to raise that to that level, of kind of collaboration, and because the thing back home too is we're trying to keep our language alive, the Yaro language. We've actually got a Yaro language centre now as part of, and it's getting taught in a couple of the schools.
Yep.
And I always try and incorporate it in my songs. So even though I can't speak it fluently, I know words and stuff. But it's great that we can bring it back. So that's all part of the musical creativity thing. I think it's one way to keep the culture strong, is to bring it through in the music.
Yeah, well, let's talk me through what's involved with the Crossing Roper Bar and where you go to. And
yeah, it's an interesting kind of project. They did it back in about 5 years ago. Paul Grabowski came up from Melbourne, and he's like a famous kind of jazz musician from Melbourne, but he collaborated with the guys from Ngukar, Roper River there, and they kind of combine their traditional. They could talk more about it when you talk to them, but they combine their traditional song with kind of a kind of almost improvisational jazz kind of arrangement, and
kind of the old meets the new.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to do it. It's kind of been done before in a way with Yothi Indi, with how they did the dance mix of treaty and stuff, and then you got Gurumul singing in language in a folk kind of idiom, folk sense. So I think it's a good way to, and then you also had Warumpi band with singing in language and rock and roll style.
Yeah.
So I think that's all great, and I sort of sing. I don't sing it in full language, but I use as many words as I can, and I've collaborated with my niece Dahlia Pigram. She's great dancer and great kind of. She's got this new one-woman play that I've done some traditional kind of language chanting stuff. So on this Crossing Roper Bar too, it's kind of taking that kind of idea, I think, a bit further, but more in a kind of a jazz kind of genre. But where I fit in, I'm really sort of. The original tour had Ruby Hunter. Bless her soul. She was on the original tour, so I'm sort of taking her place in a sense, fitting in, doing kind of a contemporary kind of storytelling song section, and hopefully there'll be a bit of cross collaboration between me and the Nooka boys, and there will be with the band as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it? What kind of feelings do you get, and what does it mean to you in particular to be a part of such a significant event?
Well, it's challenging. It's different because you got to sort of think outside the box of just playing your song from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a couple of rehearsals, and it's almost like when you've been playing your songs for a long time. You sort of dress them up in different clothes for a change,
Yeah.
Take them out to the ball or something.
Yeah, fair enough.
That kind of idea, But it can work. It might go a bit askew, but at least it's got a kind of a dangerous element to it, and which is good for a musician that's been playing for a long time, because it makes you kind of, it revives the kind of the reason you play music.
Breathes a bit of new life back into it.
Yeah, and playing music it's really what the collaboration is. I think it's like the thing of what, taking music back to what it's really all about is making great sounds, Yeah.
Just creating. Yeah.
So this song "Being" is about. I was just thinking back to my earliest sights, sounds. Earliest senses of when you're first born right through. So I was born in 1960, so I was just imagining what I would have been seeing and smelling and touching as a young person, and then the chorus is about looking back when you're my age now, which is over 50, looking back and trying to imagine if you'd actually become what you're supposed to be, and try to come to terms with all the new technology and and how things have changed so much, even in a lifetime like mine, which is not too old, but it does seem like a long time ago, the 60s, and so I sing about it. There's a particular verse where I sing about things we used to do as kids, I won't explain it too much because it's in the lyric, and then also listening to the radio, when I remember listening to Lionel Rose knocking out Fighting a Rada, and I remember the exact place I was lying on an old cyclone bed out front of my granny's place there, looking up at the stars, listening to it. So, and I was just imagining back then how you didn't have to have television to actually enjoy the kind of, we didn't know what Lionel Rose looked like, but you could you could imagine it all in your head, So this is called Being. I'm a child born 1960. First smell warm salty air, and the waft of wood fire cooking, fever grass exotic fare. The salt on a mango, while still on mother's breast, and the taste of steaming shellfish, bush fruit you can't forget. Now I feel the wind on my shoulder, setting sail out of here. I can't afford to grow too much older, trying to be the being I might have been. Fred kicked in the head by Gibraltar, and the Kunst came down by the running rail. Hey, we reran all them races with fishing line and log cabin tins, making all the hoof marks down the backyard straight and back again. Now I feel the wind on my shoulder, and I'm setting sail out of here. I can't afford to grow too much older, trying to be the being I might have been. I heard Lionel down Harada on the wireless, under the stars, on a worn-out cyclone bed. Ain't no need for television, 'cause all the pictures are in your head. Yeah, I feel the wind on my shoulder, and I'm setting sail out of here. I can't afford to grow too much older, trying to be the being I might have been. Yeah, I feel the wind on my shoulder, and I'm setting sail out of here. I can't afford to grow too much older, trying to be